because it looks actually like a PlayStation 5, only way smaller. And of course we're having PlayStation 5 look-alike controllers. The boxes make no sense too, because there is no real information on it. Yeah, besides having a controller, some overall specifications, what kind of emulators would run on, but this thing has 10 different kind of emulators, dual controls or dual handhelds. But let's do a quick view inside the package itself. The controllers are nothing like the PlayStation 5, do have some similarities when it comes to the form factor. They just love doing these things. But I can tell you, the form factor when you're holding it, it's not bad at all. It doesn't come with the rumble function whatsoever, it's really cheap to the cheap. The controls are not bad at all, where we're having very nice triggers and yeah, overall nice feel. The only downside I already noticed that you can just look at it. My button on this controller having some sticky... Okay, wait. Look at this, how this moves. This is like some wiggly trigger buttons. But yeah, that's what you're having with these cheap China things sometimes. Micro USB for powering on, an extension cord, because this thing is actually a game stick. It says the Game Stick Pro 4K. You can just plug it into your television. If you don't have the space, you can just use the extension cord. The micro USB will be plugged in at the side or sometimes at the back over here. Plug it in and yeah, that's it. You're plugging it into your television or a separate 5-volt, 2-amp-ish. Let's say 5-volt, not a supercharger or power charger. And that's actually what we're getting. Over here we're having an it's also called the M15, or why they didn't lead with that at the first time. It would be so much more convenient. But here we're having the toilet paper manual deluxe with some quick explanation how everything works, but I also will show you some quick look into the menu. We have search options, but the question also remains with these things. You can plug it in, plug in the power, but is it actually any good? And how is the overall emulation performance? And there he is, the final ingredient to this mix of shenanigans. The dongle, because we're having one dongle and two controller configuration. My monitor over here is a great example, and I mean, if you just want to plug it in, it doesn't go in all of the way. So we are going to be needing to use the extension cord. I'm happy that they are going to be implementing this in every single, or at least so far I know, every single game stick situation. So for me it's also a double feeling, because this is not actually a stick anymore, it's just a game console that's just dangling around. The next thing that we need to do is plug in the USB cable. Take consideration, if you have problems booting up or freezing, it's highly possible that your television doesn't give enough juice. I do have myself the USB port over here, so let's plug that one in. The next thing that we need to do is plug this thing in the back. And I am ready to go. So when I'm turning on my television, it automatically boot up into the Game Station Pro. Okay, so let's remove the adapter. Let's plug in the normal USB, because it doesn't boot up. Unfortunate, it does have problem when it comes to the USB power from the television. So let's give it another attempt with a new 5-volt charger. And now everything needs to be connected properly. HDMI, and now it needs to be booting up. But one thing I want to be clear about is the controller itself. I already did a quick unboxing, but after playing with it some time, this thing is really horrible. I already mentioned that this trigger is like wiggly. That's such a weird experience. But the D-pad, also this is the same flimsy D-pad. I also noticed when tapping it, it doesn't really even like get any input every single time. You need to press it really hard. We have seen it with the PlayStation 2 portables back in the day. Oh man, this controller is absolutely trash. But okay, so let's take a close look at the menu and what can we actually play. So to begin with, there's all kinds of different systems that we can actually like boot up, and there is a lot of compatibility. Take consideration when it comes to different game sticks, there is not a lot of difference over here. And for example, we don't have any Sega Dreamcast, we don't have any, let's say, Sega Saturn. Something we do find when it comes to different sticks. So another thing is pressing start. Here we're having a very limited menu. So we're only having sound settings, and we're having, I'm pressing the wrong button again, enable navigation sounds. That is something we can turn off. That's something I'm absolutely going to be turning off. And for the information, that's it. Version number, there is nothing else we can do with this. So that's absolutely a bummer in my opinion. So when it comes to compatibility, we're going to having the PlayStation 1 testing. And on the other side of it is with PlayStation Portable, we know N64, those systems will not run perfectly. But when you're also looking at the menu, we're having favorites, arcade. There is no video whatsoever, just a picture of the current game you're being on. Next up, what we can do is hold the A button for the game options. So we do have this option sometimes. if it's going to be even having this option, because pressing 8 will automatically boot up. So I think they have a brain fart over there where I bought it from. Yeah. Or there was actually nothing happening now because it's just saying loading and nothing happens. Yeah, okay, let's give this thing a reset. But after some messing around, I realized that I needed to re-enter the SD card because it didn't work. Okay, controller has been configured, everything, battery has been slapped in this thing. So let's get the show on the road. But I just wanted to point out it took forever to actually boot up into the game. It's just the main game. Don't know why it took so long. Maybe the slow SD card. Pressing select and start, what actually happens is that we'll freeze the game. And after like a couple of seconds, we have the option to make a quick load and then quick save. But with quick save, that's the only thing actually. We don't have any slots whatsoever. And here we can quit. There's no aspect ratio. We're just seeing that we're having just limited menu everything freaking where you're looking at. The other features we're having pressing cross, we're having the favorite list. We can just do that fairly easy. Going out of here, we're making a favorite list, and when we go into the huge favorite list, here we find the same game. So I think it's a pretty damn cool option, and you can just make your own collection and just play them from there, because in the end, they were always like favorite games that you personally want to play. So let's say we want to have play a PC Engine game, you want to search for something, we're pressing the Y button. With the Y button, let's say we're searching the Jackie Chan game. So let's put in a part of the name and let's search. And here you can actually see it works pretty well. So this is actually what we're getting when it comes to the overall menu. It's very limited, but it's just, I think the idea behind it is that we can just plug and play and don't mess around with the settings whatsoever. But let's boot up into the games and let's see how long are the loading times. Yeah, that's a little bit faster. Nice. So first off, let's start with some PC Engine, and of course my favorite game to play is Jackie Chan. Take consideration, there is no way of checking, that's just messing with the emulator if you have any problems whatsoever. But this game stick is basically like focused on the 8-bit and 60-bit era-ish, 32-bit with the PlayStation 1. But when it comes to the naming, this thing is called the Pro Edition, but I have no idea why this thing is called Pro, because there was nothing Pro about it. This is a great example. Just booting up the first game. I don't know what's going on with the audio. It's completely messed up. Wow. This is absolutely ridiculous. I've been setting the volume to, like, so it was 30, 40, whatever. It's not even coming out of the speakers. And this is what I mean. That they completely dropped the ball with some 8-bit configuration and the emulator. But there's nothing you can do about it. Yeah. Okay, some Game Boy Advance, but wow. You can just hear the crackling noise and the slowdowns in the main menu when choosing a character. Oh, 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 oh. There's no pro about it. It really sucks. Oh yeah, this is really bad. Oh, oh, oh. Let's move on to the 16-bit era and let's check out if they mess up this emulator too. Okay, okay, that seems to be working fine. Okay, so far so good. Let's check out, let's get into the game itself. No, there's no weird thing going on. Okay, all the audios are here. Oh, yep, I can hear the slowdowns. There I can just see and hear the slowdowns. There we go. Oh yeah. They also messed up this part too. Okay, so when it comes to certain emulators, we don't have an overall good experience. So let's see if we're going to have better experience with the arcade part of it. So first off, let's start with some Neo Geo Breakers, one of my favorite fighting games. Where the D-pad feels pretty awful, there's absolutely a horrible input. So when you're pressing up and left, there we're having a good overall, let's say, input. But when you're trying to be from the zone part to the right, nope, it's not possible to do anything over here. So the inputs has some random things going on over here. Ah, I did exactly, wow, I did a move. It's absolutely a freaking miracle. But the emulation is good.